Let's go. Happy Sunday, family. Happy Sunday. Let's get it. Hope everybody's having a blessed and amazing Sunday morning. You already know what time it is. It's Crazy Faith to God in the building, getting ready to drop some quick value for you guys today. And, let's dive into it. Today's topic is actually going to be, testings, right? Testings, right? Seeing what's on the other side of the test, right? Seeing what's on the other side of the test, right? That's going to be today's topic. Seeing what's on the other side of the testing, right? Because if you do or you don't know, right, in life, for everything that you want, you will be tested for, right? You will be tested for everything you want in life, right? And if you're going to be tested for everything that you want in life, right, there's going to be some type of sacrifice that comes with that, right? And testing is like, it's pretty, it could get overwhelming sometimes, right? When you're tested, right? But you got to stick through it, right? Even if you fail the test, right? You still got to get back up, right? You still got to show up. You still got to give it your all and show God that you're not going to quit, right? You got to show God that you are not going to quit, right? Through the testings, we go through trials and tribulations. Sometimes we pass the test, sometimes we don't, right? But, that doesn't determine your success. What determines your success is if you keep going or not, or if you just stay there, right? His mercy endures forever, and his grace is there too as well. So all you got to do is just ask God for his mercy and his grace, and to help you with the strength to keep moving forward, right? And he will grant that to you, as long as you're forgiving and having mercy on other people. That same mercy and forgiveness will be returned back onto you, right? But if you're not doing that, then when you need the forgiveness, when you need the mercy, right? If you're not forgiving others, right? When it's time for you to be forgiven, you won't receive the forgiveness. You won't receive the grace, right? You won't receive the mercy. Why? Because you haven't given it to other people when they needed it, right? Remember, we're not perfect. This is a fallen world. We are not perfect, right? So we got to always be forgiving. We always got to be letting go of sin, right? We always got to be letting go of the flesh, right? And just keep trying harder, right? If you fall, get back up, right? See what's on the other side of the testing, right? We are not perfect, right? So don't beat yourself up, right? I was once that person to beat myself up when I fell, right? When I came short of the glory of God, I was once that person. But I begin to understand that, we all come short of the glory of God. We all sin. So the best thing to do is just, forgive yourself, get back up, and just keep running the race, running the play, right? Running this marathon each and every single day, right? We are not perfect, right? We are not perfect, right? But the only thing we can do is learn from our mistakes, learn from our sins, and try our best not to do the same mistake again, right? Try our best to endure longer, right? Try our best to give it our all, right? That's all we can do to become 1% better each and every single day, right? Strengthening our weaknesses, right? That's what we can do, right? This life is gonna come with some ups and downs, right? And you just gotta be prepared for it. The ups and downs, right? The multitude is in the breaking, right? Change the way you see things so that way things can start changing for you, right? If you don't change the way you see things, then you see things through the old perception, through the old version of you. And we got to stay with the new version so that way God can bless us, right? We got to stay with the new version so that way God can bless us. If we're not with the new version, then we're stuck with the old version, and that's pretty much in the past, right? We got to let go, right? We got to master our mindsets, right? We got to master our mindsets and see what's on the other side of the testing, right? See what's on the other side of the testing, because there's something on the other side. There is something on the other side of the testing. It may not feel like it, but there is. That's why God is testing you, just to see what you would do, so that he knows, okay, this is someone he can trust, or this is someone he cannot trust, or this person just needs a little bit more time to get it right, you know? And we all trying to get it right. You know, we all are trying to get it right. Sometimes we learn, sometimes we fail, you know, but we can learn from our failures, right? We can learn from our failures, right? We can learn from our failures. It's never too late, right? It's never too late, but are you willing to see what's on the other side of the testing? Are you willing to see what's on the other side of the testing, right? Are you willing to see? Do you have the patience and the faith to see what's on the other side of the testing, right? Do you have the faith? Do you have the patience to see, right? It's going to come with patience, right? It's going to come with testings. I know the testings is so, the testings are so, it's a big one. Like when you get tested, man, it's a challenge sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie, right? It's a challenge, and you know, sometimes we win the battle, right? Sometimes we lose the battle, right? But we stay to win the war, right? Sometimes we may lose the battle, sometimes we may win the battle, right? But the long-term game is to stay in the fight to win the war, right? I feel like training your mind to win the war, is really long-term gains. You know, okay, a lot of people lost battles, right? Cool, we ain't worried about no battle, right? we worried about the war. We trying to end the war. You feel me? So it's just like, all right, you know, what can we learn from the battle? How can we come stronger from the battle? All right, take that and then keep pushing towards the war. You know, each and every single day. You know, that's what life is. You know. God is also watching to see, like, you know, what would you do, right? If you fall, what's your resilience like, right? What's your mentality if you fall or if you come short of the glory of God, right? What do you do after that, right? He's watching all of that. What do you do? Let me see your character. Let me see how righteous you are, right? Let me see how righteous you are. Let me see what you do after you fall. Let me see what you do after you come short of the glory of God and you sin. Let me see. Do you stray off? Do you go and do your own endeavors? Or do you go and do Satan's will? Or do you keep God's will? Ooh. Sheesh. When you come short of the glory of God, right? When you come short of the glory of God and you sin, right? Do you do Satan's will, or do you continue to do God's will? That's a big one right there. Woo! That's a big one, right? Sheesh. Let's go. That was the question of the day right there. Right? And I asked that because we all been in situations where we had to, you know, we fell and we had to get back up. But I had to ask myself, right, moving forward, do we do God's will still? Or do we do the enemy's will, right? Because it's a choice and we can't have two masters. So I chose God's will. And I encourage you guys to choose God's will too, because ultimately his way and his will is still better than the enemy's will, right? Even if you fail, his will is still stands. His will is still there. He is still with open arms. He is there still with open arms, right? He's still there with open arms, right? He hasn't turned your back on you. He's still right there with you, waiting for you to get it right? Being patient with you, right? So we got to be patient with him, right? This is a big internal work that he's doing within us, right? And all glory goes to him, right? He's doing the big internal work, right? We got to stick with him until he performs his work in the day of Jesus Christ, right? All this internal work, that's why they say focus on the internal world, because that's where the magic is done. That's where the recreation is done. That's where the making is becoming. That's where he shapes and molds you, right? That's where God shapes and molds you from within, right? But you got to stay with him. You can't be tearing down walls that you have built up, right? You don't want to be tearing down walls that you spent all this time building up to what? Tear it back down and then to build it back up again? Nah, we don't got time for that. I need to see progress, right? We can't be tearing down walls and then expecting to stand and get success and be aligned with God, right? Nah, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, right? And think about it. If you tear down the wall, you still got to build it up, and that's work that you already put in. Why tear it down? Just keep moving forward, right? Just get on the right track and keep pushing forward, right? Because if you don't do that, then what happens is you tear down these walls, you go down to the pits, right? You go down to the pits of hell, right? You tear down these walls, go down to the pits, and then you got to rebuild. You got to get out the pit, then rebuild the wall, and then keep pushing forward. Nah, you don't want to do that. That's wasting time. How many times you did that already? How many times have you done that already? Right? How many times have you done that already? Right? We can't be doing that. That's wasting time. That's repeating the same mistakes over and over again, expecting to go somewhere. That's insanity. No, right? We got to be able to learn, right? We got to be able to learn from our mistakes, learn from what mistakes that happened that led us to that, right? And then just keep pushing on. Or if you just fell, just get up and just keep moving forward, right? If you fell, just get up and keep pushing forward, right? Sometimes I feel like we will get tested and then we gotta pass the test of what we do after we failed the test. So it's like a test on a test. Like, all right, we failed the test, and now what do we do after we failed the test, right? Do we still keep pushing forward, or, so he's looking at all of that, right? All of that is counted. All of that is counted, right? And at the end of the day, you got to live with the regret of tearing down these walls, right? You got to live with the regret. I know it ain't easy, but, we got the Spirit of God. We got God guiding us, and we got to lean on his strength and his power at the end of the day, right? Through our strength, we're nothing. But with God's strength, we can do everything. Right? I can do all things in the power and strength of God, who strengthens me. That's what I say. When I feel like I can't do something, I can do all things in the power of Christ, who strengthens me. And I just keep saying it until I get that task done, or whatever situation that needs to be done, right? So I'm going to leave you guys with this, right? the testings, right? The testings, right? If you don't switch, your perceptions on passing the test, then you would really stay stuck on where you're at, right? You would either stay stuck, doing the same thing, right? Going back and forth, or if you could, learn from the test, right, and just keep pushing anyway. I feel like that's the growth. When you fail the test and you keep pushing anyway, right, you still grow because you haven't stopped. You learned from the fall, it made you stronger, and you still kept pushing, right? So that's the biggest thing I could leave you with. Like, we all will get tested. Some tests we will pass, some tests we will fail. We're not perfect, but we just got to keep pushing forward, right? We just got to keep pushing forward. And if you don't push forward, then you risk digressing, ripping down the walls that you already built, put all that work you got to put back in. So it's honestly up to you, right? It's honestly up to you, right? But honestly, it's worth the fight. It's worth getting back up and staying in the game and trusting the process, right? I'm going to leave you guys with that. God, I ask that you could help them, strengthen them pass the test, and let them know that it's not always easy, right? Let them know that it's not always easy, and we will come through some problems in life, right? Where we fail the test, where we come short of the glory of God, right? There's going to be times where we fall short of the glory of God, but let that not be the end of what you're trying to pursue, right? Let that not be the end of what you're trying to pursue, but let that be a fuel to keep moving forward and to be better, right? Because we are all growing, but don't let sin and don't let coming short and failing tests lead us away from you, Lord. Help us to just push past the testings, even if we fail. Push past the hurts, the limitations, the negative mindsets. Help us just to keep pushing so that way we can see what's on the other side. No matter how many times we fall, no matter how many times we come short of the glory of God, let us just stay in the fight and let us learn from our mistakes and become 1% better each and every single day. Let's go. It's your boy, Crazy Faith of God, on the way out. I'm gone. Hope you guys have a blessed and amazing Sunday. Enjoy. Happy Sunday. Let's get it. Nothing but love. Let's go.